You're with the Appalachian Long Distance Hikers Association. It is the only association on the Appalachian Trail that focuses on long distance hikers.
Ask about the water sources.
Our principal mission is we have 4 major stages in our principal mission. The first is to represent and promote the welfare of the Appalachian long distance hiking communities. Second is to provide service in a cooperative spirit with other hiking organizations. The third point is to promote education on the use and preservation at the Appalachian long distance hiking trails. And the fourth and final one is to provide opportunities for interaction and camaraderie among the Appalachian long distance hiking and hiking trail communities. So we're going to focus today a little bit on education, of trying to help those people who want to hike the Appalachian Trail in a safe way as possible. One of the things that we do is, first of all, planning an AT through hiker. We have a trifold that we hand out to beginning hikers. The purpose of it is not to talk about equipment, but to talk about, if you will, the steps you need to go through for planning your hike. A couple of people don't realize that I want to hike the Appalachian Trail. That's wonderful, but when you're going to start? Are you going to be a northbounder that would start at the end of the trail up at Katahdin? Or are you going to start at the southern end of the trail down at Springer Mountain? Are you going to start in the spring? Or are you going to start in late summer up north? The second thing is, or are you going to be a flip-flopper, start somewhere in the middle around Harper's Ferry, because it's train service, you can get in and out, and go north, if you will, through the early summer, and then turn around and come down in the fall. The second thing that a lot of hikers don't understand, that it costs money to hike the trail. It costs anywhere from $2 in the south to $3 in the north. Some people say $1,000 a month. It depends upon how much time you spend in town. You want to cut down on money? Then the best thing to do is, in your planning, think about doing Neros. Neros are, you're outside of town, 20 to 10 miles. You get up the next morning, go into town, you resupply, get your shower, do your laundry, you eat, and the next morning you're out on the trail. That way you don't lose focus. So those are just some tips that we try to provide to beginning hikers. The next thing we do is we meet a lot of people who are interested, if you will, are day hikers or slack packers. Well, one of the things to do, we do a handout. These are called the 11 Essentials. There was an organization out west called the Seattle Mountaineers that came up with the 10 Essentials. We've extended it to 11 because we're having problems with trash on the trail, as well as human waste. So as a result, we've added that. The other thing is that basically speaking, we focus on category types, not saying take a compass, not saying take a map, but navigational. Because see, you're going to be in many different environments, and the different environments require different types of the 10 Essentials. We hand these out to beginning hikers. The next thing we've done is we came up with the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, and Leave No Trace has come up with basically the Leave No Trace principles on the Appalachian Trail. If you follow these and work these, you will have a safe environment, and it'll prevent you from coming down with some of the diseases that hikers do. One of the things we decided to do when we found Geraldine Largo was lost and unrecovered. We went up on a recovery trip trying to find her. Based on all the information that's come out, we have come up with a pamphlet that we tend to hand out. Surviving until found, and what to do when you're lost. The idea is to give hikers an opportunity. The first thing you're going to do when you get lost is panic. The best thing you can do, as we used to say in Boy Scouts, is hug the tree until the panic leaves you, and then think. Things have changed today compared to past years. Past years, stay in place. No. You stay in place for 2 to 3 days. Then what you want to do is you want to start finding your way out, and you leave a trail of what direction you're headed, and you leave notes. Basic line. The key thing is don't panic. We are currently forming a search and rescue group. We're putting together a search and rescue group because we feel that no hiker should be left behind. We're getting trained, and we're working with the various organizations along the Appalachian Trail to establish a professional volunteer force. With that, in addition to that, joining ALDHA is the Appalachian Long Distance Hikers Association. Like I said, we're a small group of people, about 1,700 people. Our dues are the best deal on the trail. We do a number of different things, as I have already outlined, our 4 basics. And In addition to that, here is a list of all the programs that we have established to try to help the hiking community. For instance, during the peak season, we have ALDHA, which spends its time going up and down the hostel, going down the trail, and providing cleaning supplies to those hostels that are cheap or donation. In addition to ALDHA, we have work programs. We have a gathering. In the old days, when the fur traders came into town, they did a rendezvous where they gathered together. Well, we have a gathering as well. We call it our gathering. It is in October. It's held in the south, the middle, and the north, depending upon the season. That's where we bring in hikers who have just completed the Appalachian Trail, and we graduate them to the class of 2000, whatever the year is, and then we do a roll call where we go back in time from 2000 in this year, 17, 16, 15, 14. And we bring people into the Appalachian Trail community. Another thing, at the end of the gathering, we do trail work. We do boundary, finding out where that boundary is and keeping people off the Appalachian Trail boundaries from buildings. We also do trail work, and then we work at the Appalachian Trail Museum located in Pine Grove, Virginia. And in addition to that, you've already seen the folders that we tend to hang out. We also have an endangered services program because the wear and tear on the hostel owners. So we try to work with the hostel owners to try to refresh them. In addition to that, by joining ALDHA, you get 4 color magazines a year filled with all the information that's available. We do it 4 times a year. So that people are aware of what's going on the trail. You get that. In addition to that, you get what we call our directory. Here's all the people that are in the Appalachian Trail community. You only can get this by joining it. And it is set up by name, it is set up by state, and it's set up by trail name. So you can find the people that you've hiked with in the past, per se. Here is an example of our gathering. At the gathering, when we bring the people that have graduated or that have hiked the trail, we give them the 2,000-mile award. We give them the ALDHA I Hiked the ALDHA Way award. We give them a certificate for completing the Appalachian Trail. In addition to that, in the front of this is a list of all the trails the members of our ALDHA have hiked all over the world. And at the gathering, for 2 days, we have nothing but workshops on trails that people have hiked all over the world, as well as the Appalachian Trail, how to hike it. In addition to that, we hold the Northern Ruck the last weekend in January, where wannabe hikers who want to hike the AT can show up at the Northern Ruck, and we talk about all their issues. Then again, we go down to Amicalola Falls at the kickoff. We meet them at the kickoff and again answer their problem, answer their questions about hiking the Appalachian Trail. We don't tell them what kinds of equipment, but we try to prepare them mentally and physically and to get them to think strategically about how they're going to hike the trail, what they sort of need. They need a lifeline at home. The fact is that it costs $2 to $3 a mile, like I said before. You've got to have that in place. In addition to that, we go up to the Flip Flop Festival at Harper's Ferry. We meet them there. The people going out hiking half the trail north or half the trail south and coming around. Then we visit the trail towns, helping hikers along the way.
Well, speaking of, you mentioned about gear. I know that there's a few things here that you have, Ron, that you'd like to talk about for upcoming thru hikers that you recommend on the trail.
For instance, one of the things people have is what to do with food. Bear hangs and bear canisters. There's a thing called the Ursa sack. It's a bulletproof fabric with large ropes. It's been tested out west of the mountains. You tie this to a tree with a square knot. You roll it up, then you take the rope and put it around a tree, and you tie a square knot. Those that don't know the square knot, right over left, and then left over right gives you a good strong knot. The bear can't break it. But just using the Ursa sack is not good by itself. In addition to that, there's a thing called the op sack. This op sack, it's smell-proof, it's patented, it's waterproof. This is where you put your food. You put this in here and put it inside here. And you tie it to a tree, and that helps. In addition to that, we have things that we call smellables, toothpaste, anything with an odor, lip gloss, bug repellent, and you put these in here. You put that in the bear bag and hang it on the tree, so that when you come in late at night and when you're tired and when you're exhausted, it's an easy hang. This is called Ursa Major. We also have one called the Ursa Minor. The Ursa Minor has metal in it, and it's great for people that are just going to shelter because the mice can't bite through it. In addition to that, what we're finding is that along the trail, we have a number of diseases that are on the trail, particularly in big groups. The Norovirus. The Norovirus is a virus. Everybody thinks that, by the way, Purell has been proven to be most effective against bacteria. It's not effective against the virus. The only effective thing against the virus is to wash your hands, between your fingers and the back of your hands. In addition to that, what you want to do is you want a barrier between the ground, between the table, and yourself, because you don't know who sat there. So you put this down, okay? You put an X on one side, that's always the bottom. This also gets the micro food particles that small rodents eat and need and tend to inhabit those camping areas. By taking that away from them, we can deter that population. In addition to that, you don't sit on the ground. On the ground are where ticks are. There's also where the chiggers are. So you want a barrier wherever you sit. You sit on a rock, you sit on a log, or wherever you sit, you have a barrier between you and it. In addition, since I did mention ticks are a problem up and down the trail. You've got at least 4 different kinds of tick diseases. Just recently in New England, Massachusetts, and up in Maine, they've come up with a new tick disease that tends to go to the brain. It is not an epidemic, but it's out there. You need to be aware, just like ticks are. To prevent ticks, you've got a couple of things you can do. You wear long pants and a long sleeve. Yes, I know it's hot, but if you got the zip-offs, you can unzip them, particularly in grassy areas. The other thing you do is you take your pants and you put it in your sock, and you put it on with long pants. If you don't want to wear long pants and you want to wear gym shorts, get yourself a pair of bug pants. It's like your bug screen that's on your net, but you wear pants. It lets the air flow, the ticks can't get through. In addition to that, you want to treat your equipment, your clothing, only your clothing. This does not go on your body. You put it on your shoes, your pants, your socks. You can also, in some cases, put it around the outside floor of your tent to help keep it down. You can also buy impregnated clothing. There's a company called Ex Officio. There's other companies that you can send your clothing in to treat it. Do not put this on your underwear. This is a poison. You can use DEET. DEET is about 25% DEET. You don't want the 100 DEET woods on your body. You can put it on the brim of your hat. You can put it on your clothing. You want 25% DEET that you put on your body. That helps retard the ticks. If you do get a tick, what you need to do is use tweezers and get the head and pull it out. The old trick about gasoline, and a lighted match does not work. What does work are tweezers. And you've got to get the head out. If you've been bitten by a tick and you've got a mark in your body, any place, then what you want to be concerned about is if you get a fever and you get a malaise, you got a flu fever, you don't feel good for a few days, and you got a mark, get yourself to an urgent care center. Let them check you out to make sure you don't have one of those diseases. Just because you're in the East doesn't mean you might not have Rocky Mountain disease. So that's the reason for getting to yourself and taking care of yourself. In addition to that, one of the things that we're doing now is in order to decrease the amount of toilet paper on the trail, we're asking ladies if they would carry a pee towel. This is a light microfiber towel. They can use it 2 or 3 times. And what they do is this: at the end of that, with your clothes, with a towel, you take 3 sticks and put them in the ground. You create a tripod of points. You take the plastic, you roll it over like this. You put water in here. Okay, then you take biodegradable soap, just a couple of drops, or Castle soap, and you put in a couple of drops. You take your pee towel, you put it in here, you rinse it around, you take it out. Now it's soapy. You've got another bag that's already been set up. with fresh water. You take this and put it into fresh water, and you clean it out and hang it up. Now that you've got the water, now that you've done that, what you do is you take this, wherever you have peed in your campsite, you take this and dilute the urine, because the animals will be attracted to the urine. So you're dispersing that. You do the same thing with your socks and your underwear. They're going to be filled with salt. Animals are going to love it. So you just a little bit of soap, you rinse it, you put it in here and rinse it out. You do the same thing with the water. Wherever you use your toothpaste, you brush your teeth, you try to spray it in an area that's on the ground and not the vegetation. And you take this water and pour it over so you want to dilute it. When you need to go to the bathroom, you try to go to the bathroom outside of the campsite. If there's a privy, you use it. If there's not a privy, then you don't use it. Ladies, please do not, and men, please do not throw the wet wipes or other feminine items into the privies. They don't digest. They don't break down at all.
Great.
Then the other thing you do is just use common sense. You don't need to take, typically speaking, most leave no trace things talk about 200 feet, which is about 80 steps on typical terrain, maybe 75. If you've got to go to the bathroom and you think you have to go normally at night, set up a bathroom area that's reasonably close so that you can find your way back to the tent. A lot of people get lost. The smart thing to do is to put a light or put a reflector on your tent so that you can walk back there. It's best if you can, you go to a bathroom outside of the camping area. And most of all, stay clean, wash your hands, and have fun on the trail. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much, Ron. And I will put the details of everything that Ron talks about with the education in the details of this video. And then if you're interested in purchasing any of these items that Ron recommends, I will also put that in the details of this. And one thing that I just wanted to say, so you guys know that I did a revenue drive for the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. You've already seen that. We raised $1,000 for ATC. Just a peek under the tent, no pun intended. We're going to be partnering with ALDHA here sometime soon, because I'd like to do a similar revenue drive with them down the road and try to become a corporate sponsor for ALDHA as well.
Thanks a lot for doing this. We are totally dependent. We are a volunteer. We are totally dependent on dues to do all the things that we try to do. Every cent that we have goes back to the trail. So thanks a lot. Please come and visit us on the Appalachian Trail. Join all the, attend our gathering, but most of all, get out and hike and have fun.
Thanks, Ron.